Welcome to the Real Freedom Podcast, where we inspire you to pursue your passion to gain time and financial freedom through opportunities in real estate. I'm your host, Mike Swenson. Let's get some real freedom together. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Real Freedom Podcast, where we talk about building wealth, gaining time and financial freedom through various opportunities in real estate. And so today's guest, I'm really excited to share because he's got experience in a few different areas before getting into real estate and has seen success and has a heart for helping others. And so we're so excited to have John Holston here. Grew up in Northern Colorado, graduated from Colorado State, and actually started out as a TV news photographer in Georgia, and then moved to becoming a news reporter and anchor in Fort Collins, Colorado. Got into law enforcement, and then really, as many people have had a challenge with just law enforcement in general, and we've seen a lot of people go from law enforcement into real estate, past guests. So you got into real estate sales, closed 47 deals your first year, and took home $250,000 in income, and now consistently doing, 60, 65 deals a year. And really taking your learnings now, you're looking to help others through top-notch agents. And we'll dip into that a little bit, just about lessons you've learned, how you want to help agents grow and build their business. You've also contributed a book, Larry Kendall's Ninja Selling, as well as guest appearances or being on Good Morning America and being in the Wall Street Journal. And then you run your team in Northern Colorado. So welcome, John. We're so excited to have you on.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Why don't you just share a little bit about your background? I mean, a few different industries, diverse experience. Walk us through that journey and kind of how you landed into real estate and why you got into real estate.
That's just a loaded question, really. I ask myself a lot of times, how did I get into real estate? Because I never really thought about getting into real estate through the years, but here I am. Basically, went to college in Colorado, jumped into journalism for a few years. Realized that having a young family in journalism isn't a real good fit financially. You get paid like nothing when you're starting off the media. Jumped into law enforcement because I had been, as a reporter, I covered crime in courts. So it was kind of a cool fit. Jumped over to that. Really enjoyed it. Had a great career in law enforcement for 17 years. Everything from patrol officer to detective to sergeant. It was a great run, but I would say I really started to question what I was doing, and I didn't really want to push a police car, as we call it, till I'm 65, and I was 42 at the time, and decided I want to build something for myself. I want to stop trading hours for dollars and start investing in my own career, investing in my own business. Asked some friends. I was like, what do you think I'd be good at? I went to them and said, you've known me for a long time. I call it my council of 12, Mike. I said, and there might have been 13, there might have been 11, I don't know, but council of 12 sounds good. So I sat down with 12 people and I said, here's my thought. I'm thinking about going into real estate. What do you think? And 10 of them, after I showed them my fancy business plan on a Big Chief notepad, scratched out, they said, 10 of them were like, I think you should do this. I think you have a real shot here. One said, I don't know. And the 12th said, you are crazy for leaving the job you're in. But I took the jump based on their counsel and their thoughts. And it's been great. It's been a really good run. Had a quick launch in real estate. I think looking back, I have identified things that really helped with that before I jumped in full time. And I did jump right into full time. I mean, I never did a day of work between the police work. I never did a day of police work and real estate work at the same time. I totally jumped cold turkey into real estate. Looking back, it was kind of not smart, but it turned out pretty well. So here I am, 11 years later. I do run a small team in Northern Colorado. It's been great. So real estate's been a really good thing for me financially, life-wise. I'd like to say that it freed up a lot of time. I say one of the reasons I got into real estate was for flexibility in my schedule. Joke was on me on that, but I'm getting to a point where I can definitely control things a little bit more. So that's kind of in a nutshell, my story.
It's interesting. I mentioned how we've had a lot of guests on, or even just clients that I've worked with that invest in real estate too, that have come from law enforcement. And, you think about the things that challenge agents starting a business is putting processes and procedures into place, following systems, and then two, that lead weight, that's the phone, picking up the phone and having conversations with people. You had a lot of hard conversations being in law enforcement. So picking up the phone, talking to people, talking about things like buying and selling houses is a lot different than conversations you've had in the past. So I'm sure some of those emotional things that are maybe challenging for people getting into real estate was not a big deal for you. And that's what helped you make a smooth transition.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, one of my lieutenants who actually went into real estate before me, and he told me, he said, "John, you are done dealing with emergencies. You're going to have a lot of urgencies to deal with, but the chances of someone dying because of real estate is pretty slim." So it was a change in perspective for sure. But I was kind of, one of my specialties was interview and interrogation, and I use that when it comes to my clients. I don't like to specialize on that.
Put the light on them.
Yeah, put the light
Let's
on
get
them.
into the real brass tacks here
Maybe
about
bring
selling your home.
into the picture. No, I don't do that. But I think understanding and listening to what's below the surface, because you hear the saying, buyers are liars, right? I mean, it's like what they say they want, really it goes below that. There's a surface below that. And maybe below that surface of getting to really what they want and what they need. So I think, my interview and interrogation was really helpful in that. Paying attention as a detective, I was very detail oriented, had to look at all the minutia, and that's what we are with real estate, right? It's what we are in contracts. I had to understand the law and how it applies to situations. Got to understand the contract and how to. So there were a lot of things I think that carried over for sure into real estate from law enforcement. That was, and yeah, you're right. Talking to people. I mean, I don't have a problem talking to people, and I don't have a problem telling people like it is. I do it in a diplomatic way, but truth is truth, right? So being able to communicate with people in an effective way is super important. So yeah, brought a lot over with me.
And I think that's a good advice for people that are considering real estate or just getting into real estate is understanding the background that you have, the skills, the transferable skills you have, because everybody has skills that will work well in real estate. Oftentimes I feel like whatever industry you've been in the past, you can be successful in real estate. It's just kind of learning how to take the best of your background to be able to apply it into your career here to be able to have success.
That is exactly right. And that's one of the things I focus on in my coaching and training, is telling people, be humbly teachable. Be humbly teachable, because you're bringing a lot of stuff into real estate now, a lot of skill, a lot of ability, but there's a lot of stuff you just don't know right now. So be humble, plug into the learning a lot of things, but make sure in your humility to understand that you are good at stuff. That's the whole reason that you are going to be successful in real estate, because you're bringing a lot of skill with you. So yeah, that's a really good point, Mike, is don't forget where you're coming from and applying your expertise from one field to another.
And I came from a nonprofit for 10 years working on the operations and admin side, and had always been interested in real estate. I'd actually done some investing and flipping kind of on the side while I was working for a nonprofit. And when I didn't, part of what scared me getting into real estate was I didn't want to be the 24/7 agent. Like I didn't want to be, and I didn't really want to be an agent because I'm naturally an introverted person. And so I wanted to be on the admin side. And once I got into real estate, I realized like there was so many transferable skills, leading a team of admin, like hiring people, training people, putting systems into place, problem solving. I didn't necessarily know how to put a listing live or how to put it in the MLS yet, but at the same time, I could learn that, or building systems to help hold agents accountable, or even training. I wrote a lot of the training materials for our team without having been an agent, because I could know and understand what it takes to be successful. Obviously, I had great people that had already been successful that could kind of help me build those systems, but it was all transferable, taking a system and, scaling it and figuring out how to do that. So yeah, everybody has gifts and abilities of where they come from. And that can be what helps you to be successful.
And I think you said something really key is the whole idea of you wanted to be in the admin side of things because you saw that working to your strength. But I bet you've been really good at sales, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky in the sense of I'm not naturally an outgoing person. I love one-on-one conversations. I love, when I talk on the phone to people or even in the podcast, people are surprised to know that, yeah, if we were at a party and there were 20 people, I'd be the one like, hanging close to the person I knew best because I just don't naturally go out. That doesn't mean I don't like people. I just don't like to be out there, but I love connecting with people.
But that's the beauty of real estate, because a lot of people, I said, I bet you're good in sales, but the reality is, yes, real estate is sales, but what business are we really in? We're in the relationship business.
Right.
That's what we're in. And so I ask people a lot, what business are we in? And that's their first, well, we help, people buy, sell homes. No, we are in the relationship business. Then the next question is, what's your product? What is your product? And people go, well, homes. We buy and sell homes. No, your product is the experience that people have when they work with you. And so you don't have to be some big sales-minded person. What you need to be is relational, connecting with people on a level that makes them feel comfortable and bringing. So there is room, like you said, there's room for everybody in real estate as when it comes to skills and abilities. It's just learning that, finding where you fit well, and then playing to your strengths, for sure.
So let's talk about your success as an agent and building your small team. And then we can talk more about, helping other folks as well. But in terms of for you, so somebody comes in, 47 deals. What did you have to do to find that success right out of the gate? Like what do you think was impactful for you or helpful to hit 47 deals your first year? Because a lot of people don't do that. And so you're certainly unique in that sense, but yeah, would love to hear more about it.
Yeah. And I think that I had to reverse engineer that, because I was like, why is it? 87% of agents don't make it 5 years. 13 out of 100 people make it in this business 5 years. Why is that? So I kind of reverse engineered it and said, what happened? Like, what did I have in place that others might not have in place? And I came up with 5 things. Number one, I clearly knew my why. I knew why I wanted to do real estate. And yes, I wanted to make good money. Yes, I wanted to have more freedom in my life. Yes, I wanted to be successful in whatever I was doing, but it boiled down to people. I love relationship. I love connecting with people and helping them in a meaningful way. That was really my why and what I focused on, because money comes and goes, deals come and go. People are always there. Relationship is always there. And knowing your why is super important, because when times get tough, you've got to be able to go back to that why to keep yourself motivated. I knew my why. Number 2, I had money. Money is a super important piece to growing your business. I'm not saying a ton of money. And when I say I had money, I did not have a whole lot of money in the bank, but I had retirement. So I cashed in one of my retirement funds. That gave me 6 months of living expenses, and it gave me about $5,000 to build my business and launch it correctly. Everything from marketing to technology needs to all this different stuff. One of the biggest things people do is they jump into real estate full time, or they try to, and they don't have a runway. So then they have no money 2 or 3 months down the road when they haven't sold anything, which is totally normal. And then they've got to look for a side gig, to support their life, all the while ignoring their real estate business because they can't. They've got to eat. So I go into this business with 6 months at least of living expenses, which I did, and having some extra money to build and launch correctly. So that number 2, have money. Number 3 was to have an existing sphere of influence. And this is something that's super important, because yes, you can cold call, you can buy leads, you can do all those things and hope they work out. But the most organic way to grow an amazing business is to know a lot of people. So when I have young, young kids right out of college, or not kids, but you know what I mean, right out of college, and they say, well, I'm going to go into real estate. And I say, well, how many people do you know? How many people do you feel like you can work as a sphere? And they go, I probably know like 10 or 15 people. Okay, well, we have a bit of a problem because you're going to have to grow that sphere to work with. So I usually tell people, listen, if you went into the grocery store and you ran into somebody you knew and you would have a conversation with them about their family or just catch up on life, how many of those people would there be? And I usually encourage people, have about 100 people minimum before you jump into the business full time, because we know statistically in my market, this is a huge number to know, is that contact list, the number of households on there. For every household, you should make $1,500 per year gross commission per household on that list, if you are working that list correctly. So you think about that, 100 people, it's 150,000 gross commission. We make about a third of what we make after all of our fees and all that good stuff. So that's 50,000 to live on. So I just say you got to have something in place. So I did that. I had a good group. I had a good sphere of influence. I had around 400 people, 350 to 400 people that I knew from being in my community for 30 years. So I had longevity and I had an existing sphere of influence that I could work with. Number 4, I ended up in the right brokerage, and a brokerage that provided support, coaching, mentoring, continuing education, education for new agents. I mean, they were very, very involved, and that was huge. So number 4, end up in the right brokerage. Number 5, be teachable, be humbly teachable. There's a lot of people who have gone before us, super successful in real estate. We do not need to recreate the wheel. Copy what the best do. And when you copy what the best do, you will do fine. So number 1, know your why. Number 2, have money. Number 3, have an existing sphere of influence. Number 4, land in the right brokerage. And number 5, be teachable. And those are the 5 things. I look back and I said, I think, I didn't have my head around that, but those are things that I had in place when I came into the business that helped me succeed. And I think I call them the 5 pillars. And if you got all 5 of those pillars, you're in pretty good shape. You start taking them away, doesn't mean that you can't do the job, but oftentimes it means it's a timing thing. Save your money, meet people, do what you need to be teachable, learn to be teachable. So hopefully that answers your question, but I think you look back and for me, that's what it was. And I think for most people, that can be kind of help chart a course of success.
One of the other things that I think about with agents is you have to have a long-term view of your business. You're starting a business that's going to grow.
Absolutely.
And so what I see so many times is people take a short-sighted approach where, hey, I made $50,000 a year as a copier salesman, and this year I made $45,000 in real estate. So now I'm going to go back because I can make more money there. Well, remember, that was maybe year 5 or 7 of being a copier salesman compared to year 1 of real estate. So as you build relationships, your business should be growing year after year. Or what you can do is you can cherry pick, you have the nice thing is you have flexibility of how you want to run your business. So it might be, I just want to make the same amount of money and maybe do it in less time. Well, you could pick higher end listings, higher end buyers, and you could refer other stuff out to people. You could build out an admin team. And so you get to control what you want to control. But remember, year 1 in real estate isn't going to equal year 5 or 10 in your past sales business. And therefore I should go back and do that, because I'm an advocate. I mean, obviously we talk about, my podcast, Building Wealth Through Real Estate, there's investing opportunities, future things as well. You got to let your career grow. And so that's going to take a few years to start to see that trajectory. Don't be short-sighted and just say, I tried it 1 year. I didn't make as much in my other job, so I'm going to go back.
Yeah, that's really good. And you're right. I mean, most agents, their first year do less than 5 deals, right? The idea is that you double that the next year. And then you double that the next year, right? And you just keep moving up. You need time to build your business. It's definitely the long game. Definitely the long game. And if you get short-sighted, you're going to run into trouble because you just, this is a business. It's not a hobby either. I mean, you can teach, people can treat it as a hobby. There's no bad reason to get into real estate, really. If someone wants to do it part-time, great. Be a referring agent, great. Full-time, great. But know what you want to do and go in that direction. and just, but have realistic expectation of what that looks like. And you're absolutely right. Your first year is not going to be an indication of what the rest of it is if you tweak and learn over time. I just said tweak. If you tweak, like on meth or something like that, you will not do well. But when you tweak it, meaning that how you do things, you're good.
Yes. So many times people just don't think things through. And it does go back to your number one pillar, knowing your why. Like if you've got a strong why there, you're going to be in this for the long haul. It's not going to be, I'm going to dip my toe in the water into real estate. And if I don't like it, I mean, some people might try that if you have a job and you're trying real estate on the side. Right. But realizing, yeah, you can start a business that you're in complete control of, and it might change over time. I mean, my business was residential, and now we shifted to working with investors because I felt like it fit more with what I wanted to do, and it aligned more with my schedule. Going and for out-of-state investors, I do showings by myself. I don't have anybody come with me. I just take my phone, take some video, throw it in Google Drive, send it to them, and we have a conversation. So if I see a property that comes on the market that looks interesting, I can go look at it in 30 minutes. I don't even have to call them, like depends on if it's a property I think I'll have many investors interested in, I can do that. So for me, my choice to work with investors fit my lifestyle a little bit more. But yeah, there's benefits of, however you get to run your business, you get to decide. And that's the cool part of real estate.
That's fantastic. And like you said, yeah, it can morph over time. So one thing, whatever your why is now can change, and let it, because that's the beauty of being self-employed. Beauty of being in real estate is you can tailor to where you're at in life right now.
So some of the nuts and bolts, I'm assuming of your transactions when you first got started, most of them were probably Sphere, working your Sphere, referrals from your Sphere, but just share a couple lessons that you learned building and scaling your business and setting it up to repeat and consistently have good years.
Right. And yeah, down the road now, right? 11 years down the road, I still, the vast majority, 60 to 70% of my business comes from repeat clients and referrals, right? So that's a super important thing to work. So right off the bat, though, what I did is I tell people you've got to compile a physical contact list. So I did that right off the bat, and I just started working with those people. Now, what does it mean to work with those people? So what I did is I just
call them every day. Gonna buy a house today? Gonna buy a house today? Gonna buy a house today?
Drive people off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, every day. The vast majority of my contact with people has nothing to do with real estate. These are people who I know and are friends or I have good acquaintances with. And so a lot of mine, this is counter to what a lot of people do. But I am more concerned on the relationship side of how people are doing. What's going on in their life? How can I help you? I mean, I want to be a friend to them. And so a lot of times, I will send texts. Hey, how's it going? I'll send a note. What's going on? Thinking of you. I heard this happen, whatever. Phone calls, just checking in on people. And I probably do 5 to 10 coffee meetings a week with people. And these are not, I typically do not bring up business. I let them, because they will every single time. They will bring something up about business. It opens a door, but I wasn't the one to do it. I'm not afraid to. I'm not afraid to bring up business. And if there's a reason to, I will. But the main thing is, they know what I do. They don't necessarily have to be told every time what I do. But I just harvest these relationships that I have with people. When I started, my contact list, like I said, was three to probably around 350, something like that. Now it's closer to 500. But I keep it very people who I know, and I just work that list and just stay in touch with them. We know the average person knows 10.2 realtors. So why do they choose one particular person? Is it because they know and like them and trust them? Sure. But there's a lot of people they know, like, and trust who are realtors. The number one reason statistically that a person chooses a realtor, last person they heard from. I'm going to be the last person they heard from. That's what I want to do. Doesn't have to be over business. It's just, I just want them to think of me. So that comes, that constant interaction with people. I have bus benches they drive by. I have radio ads they hear. Things like that, just to saturate around them and let them make that decision based on who they heard from last. So that's what I say when they have that contact list, is just a lot. One of the fundamentals, one of the things I tell people, just stay in the flow with people. Stay in the flow with your sphere of influence. If you don't have a sphere of influence, you don't have that many people you know, get it. You got to build it. Network with people, work open houses. Cold call? Sure. I'm not a cold caller. I don't like that. I have never, Mike, made a single phone call in my life. I've not a single cold call. Yeah. Because I don't feel comfortable with that. It's not me. There's a lot of people who love it, and that's awesome. I haven't knocked on doors because I have a sphere of influence that I could work with. But if you don't have that sphere, you got to do different things to get it, but grow that sphere and then connect with them consistently 3 to 4 times a month if you can. People are like, what in the world do I contact people 3 to 4 times a month? I'm sending a mailer once a month. I'm sending an email once a month. I'm making phone calls. I'm texting, radio ads, bus benches. Do something to be in the sphere with, to be in that sphere. And that's a super important one. And then the other one I would say is just invest in your business, invest in marketing stuff. That's important, and that goes back into staying in touch with people. And then just be yourself, be authentic, be who you are. Don't try to be somebody else. You don't fool anybody when you try to be someone you're not. So let your natural strengths and abilities, just like you've done with using your strengths and abilities when it comes to your admin or connecting with one-on-one with people. That's your wheelhouse, and you stay in your wheelhouse and you do the stuff you enjoy doing. And when we do what we do well and we try to delegate the rest, you will do well financially and enjoy life more.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, a lot of times people get upset when you're comparing yourself to everybody else, right? You're seeing this agent has so many transactions. This agent has so many Instagram followers, and you feel like you have to do what they want to do. And I heard this, I have a mindset coach, and we were talking, they had shared the other day that think about like a decathlete, right? A decathlete, they're doing 10 events. To be the best decathlete in the world, you don't have to be the best at every single event. You only have to be good enough at each of those events that you kind of shine through. Now you're going to have events you're at better than others, but I don't have to be the best thrower or the best runner or the best jumper. But I have to be consistently good. But the problem is what we tend to do is we compare ourselves with the best at every single thing. So if I was a decathlete, I would compare myself to the best runner, to the best hurdler, to the best jumper. Well, we compare ourselves to the best person in social media for marketing their business and real estate, or the best person that has billboards everywhere, the best person that has radio ads everywhere. And we sometimes think we have to do every single thing to be the best, and just realize, no, I just have to be me. And what's going to attract people to me is being myself. Because everybody has a different vibe. There's clients that you just connect with better. And some people you don't, and you don't have to beat yourself up when somebody chooses somebody else. Just go focus on getting the next one. You don't have to change who you are.
That's a great point. And usually what I say is if someone in your sphere goes with somebody else, it just means they probably did a better job staying in touch with them. Or that's not necessarily a statement on who you are. That's the other thing is, remember that real estate is what you do. It's not who you are as a person. So be who you are as a person and let that shine through to your real estate. Don't try to be something you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really good. So yeah.
And sometimes people just don't want to do business with their friends because they don't want it to ruin the relationship. And that's okay. That's their decision. So I don't have to be mad at them for not choosing me, because the average person knows 10.2 realtors. How many insurance agents do we know? And I don't choose all of them. I choose one for my insurance needs. Does that mean all the rest of them are going to be bitter at me I still enjoy them as a person. I just didn't choose them. So let's put the shoe on the other foot in their shoes. There's 9 other realtors they know that they didn't choose. That doesn't mean they don't like you. It just means it wasn't the decision for them. You can still get the next piece of business. Or like I said, maybe they just decided we don't want to risk that relationship with something souring, having a bad transaction, and that's okay.
And it stings. I mean, it stings for all of us, but you just buckle up and take it for what it is. And, I heard a saying, we spend 85% of our lives worrying about things we have no control over. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think that's true. And so we can't control, we can't control the choices people make. And that's why when people have goals, especially at the beginning of the year, I'm going to close 30 deals. I'm going to make 400,000 gross commission. You don't control that. What you control is what you do, your actions. You control how many phone calls you make. You control how many handwritten notes you might write, or emails, or direct mail, texts you make. I mean, those are things you control. Do those things, focus on them, and the business will come. But make your goals based on activities you can do, right? And then just let the rest go, because there's a lot we do not control, and you need to be okay with that. Control the things you can, let the rest go.
Real estate agents, are you tired of letting the busyness of your real estate business get in the way of your real estate investing goals and your financial future? I'm excited to announce that we've created the Real Freedom Investor Agent Tribe to help you. We've got a ton of content, educational tools to help accelerate your learning curve and get you on the right path to hit your investing goals. We also have a mastermind tribe of people just like you, agents that want to grow their own portfolio and encourage you and cheer you on along the way, as well as some private one-on-one coaching. So go to realfreedom.com, click on the store, you'll see the options there. We're so excited to be able to help you. I've priced it super low so price can't get in the way, but did want to have some skin in the game for you to help with that accountability. So go check it out, realfreedom.com, click on the store. We're excited to connect with you and excited for you to connect with your tribe of real estate agents investing, trying to build their financial freedom. So for people that want to know more, let's just chat about Top Notch Agents for a second. You want to help other people in real estate as well. Share your experience, share your path to help those struggling, looking to get a footing. So talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I would say that my passion, we talk about our why. Over time, my passion has changed a bit from the ins and out, or the day in, day out sales and connecting with people on buying and selling homes, more to my passion for just helping others kill it in their business, and just forming their career in such a way that it's to help them jumpstart, I guess is the best way we say it. Top Notch Agents, I created it primarily for people who are transitioning from one career into real estate, because that's my story. That's what I did. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I want to do is help struggling agents and those who are lonely in their market and they just don't know what to do or how to get started. We want to help them. And we want to, a lot of coaching is kind of raw, high level stuff. You can do this, hang in there. I think that motivation is crap unless you can really do something with it. So what we do at Top Notch is we have something called the 60-day accelerator. And that's 8 weeks or 60 days of curriculum that they follow. They log in, they get 5 to 7 things to do every day for those 60 days, 5 days a week. And it's just like, man, do these things exactly what we're encouraging you to do, and you will be fine. So I encourage people to check out the site, see if we can help them out. It's for some people, not for some people, but I think we've got a formula that's super helpful. We actually have on the website, we have a free assessment that agents can take to kind of identify why they might be struggling and some specific ways they can turn that around. It's free. We're not going to harass you, but just get a chance to identify some things. And then we also focus on messaging. How are you marketing your business? Partnered with a company, South Mountain Messaging, that helps us in doing that. So we just want to be a full package for people, help you understand how to grow your business. We meet once a week on Monday mornings, and we just meet for an hour and talk through that week's curriculum and some different things we can do to grow in our business. And then we want to provide support after that 60 days. So it's just kind of it's a really great group. And so topnotchagents.com, just encourage people to check it out. If we can help you, we'd love to. And if not, then we certainly want to help other ways that we can. I'm always available to connect with people.
Yeah, it's clear to see that you earnestly want to help people. A lot of agents they're in it for the money, they're in it for the success. You genuinely want to help people. And so that's the beauty of that. And that tickles the right muscle, for you of seeing success. So that's exciting to see.
I've made a lot of money in real estate, and I've made a lot of money in 1 year in real estate and been a millionaire in a year in real estate. But it doesn't, to me, over time, the money's great and we need it to live, but we need to pursue our passions. And for me, that's helping other people do that, and so, yeah, that's where I am.
Well, thank you so much, John, for coming on. I appreciate you sharing your heart and your secrets for success. And yeah, for anybody that's interested in learning more, reach out to John. But thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.